Do you want Instagrammers or TikTokers to post about your brand? Or do you actually want to engage creators who influence their audience to buy your product? If you're in the latter of those two, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Winfluence, the Influence Marketing Podcast. Hello again, friends. Thanks for watching Winfluence, the Influence Marketing Podcast. I've got a special treat for you this week, but I'm going to have to ask for your indulgence to get it. I spent time recently with a local influencer here in Louisville. Her name is Rosa Hart, and she runs LouReview.com and the Lou Review podcast. I've followed her content for a couple of years. I try to keep an eye on all the content creators in town just so I know who's who and who's doing what. Comes in handy in my line of work. But Rosa and I had never met until a couple of weeks ago. It turns out she didn't know what Scipio.ai was and was hesitant to connect her social accounts to our platform to be a creator in a client campaign. The team let me know, and I reached out to reassure her we were a good partner and we're just doing what any other trustworthy influence partner platform would do to make sure campaign measurement was easy and our clients were able to pull relevant data for their analytics. Turns out Rosa is a good people person, and instead of trading a few messages, she looked me up, realized I might be handy helping her with some podcast questions, and she went old school on me. She invited me to her house. Well, I got this crazy idea that I would record the trip and see if I could, play around and pull off a documentary style experience doing a podcast episode. A Winfluence road trip, if you will. It turns out the conversation was so rich and fascinating, and Rosa's path to influence is full of surprises and insights. She's also parlayed her content creation side hustle into a big piece of her day job, which makes its debut today. There's so many neat angles to her story. I knew I had to tell it. Because I went in with a live mic to record my visit, I thought it might be fun to do this interview and tell this story in a very different way. So today's episode of Winfluence isn't a video. In fact, I'm just visiting with you here where we normally talk on Mondays to invite you to the audio version of the podcast. It won't play well on a video stream. It's an audio experience that I really want you to hear. You can find the episode at winfluencepod.com or go to jasonfalls.co/Rosa Hart. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed to the audio version of the show, you can jump over to any podcast app, search for Winfluence, and subscribe. It will be the latest episode. I really want you to hear Rosa's story because it's a refreshing take and perspective on being a content creator and an influencer. And yeah, I want your feedback on whether or not the documentary-style Winfluence adventure turned out to be a fun listen for you. Winfluencepod.com will get you to the podcast player on my website. jasonfalls.co/Rosa Hart, ROSAHART, will take you to the episode page with show notes, links, and all that good stuff. And I look forward to your feedback. Thank you in advance for the indulgence on taking a little extra step to hear what I have to say today on Winfluence. While I've got you here, I should also tell you for the next couple of days, I'll be in Cleveland, Ohio at the Creator Economy Expo. The Marketing Podcast Network is a media partner and sponsor for the event. T. Adeola, who hosts the Tiny Giants podcast, and I will be on the ground at the show, meeting and greeting the content creators there. If you'll be in Cleveland, pop me a message on one of the social networks and let me know so we can meet up. And T and I will very likely put together a little post-CEX report for you. So look for that in your feed, probably later in the week, maybe next week. And Winfluence is presented by Scipio.ai. I would love to show you our platform to harvest all the UGC you can handle for your brand and find and engage the influential voices in your brand community. I'll do the demo my own self. Just book some time with me at jasonfalls.co/Scipio. That's CIPIO. jasonfalls.co/Scipio. Thanks for joining me here on your Monday morning, everyone. Do jump over to the audio version of the podcast and listen to the very special audio experience today as we pay a visit to Rosa Hart. Winfluencepod.com or jasonfalls.co/Rosa Hart, ROSAHART. That's going to do it for this abbreviated stream of Winfluence. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's talk again soon on Winfluence.